Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship once again calls Shannonville Motorsport Park home for the final Economy Lube and Tire Pro Sport Bike Division race of 2024. In race number 11 of the season, one-speed Suzuki rider Trevor Daly ran away with the victory in his classic puddle jumping fashion. With Sébastien Tremblay already crowned champion of the division this season, who will make a splash in the final Bridgestone CSBK laps of 2024? Helmet on, gloves strapped, it's time to go racing in Shannonville. Marshall Ferguson alongside Colin Fraser. We are here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. It is round number 6, the final round of 2024 in the Bridgestone CSBK and in the Economy Lube and Tire Pro Sport Bike Division. Once again, Colin, we had rain and Trevor Daly storming his way to the front with a dominant victory in race number 11.
Yeah, it didn't take him long to get to the front. This is the third time he's done well. This was probably in bad conditions. This was probably the most impressive of them because the track was so slick. And can I also mention this is our 30th anniversary on TSN. We're completing that season too.
Tremendous to have the 30th season on TSN as Trevor Daly, one of the stars of this year on TSN here with the Bridgestone CSBK. Anytime it rains, but we'll see what the conditions look like here today.
There we see our pole sitter, Sébastien Tremblay. 1:46.3 was his pace. That's almost 2 seconds faster than the fastest from a year ago.
John Lang with a great final lap pass of Sébastien Tremblay in race number 11 as he lines up alongside Alex Michel, Andrew Van Winkle. There's Dylan Bauer and Trevor Daly, our winner from race 11.
Now you can bet everybody on this end of the grid is definitely looking forward to drier conditions, give or take Trevor Daly.
Absolutely. As we go around Shannonville Motorsport Park, one final race, race number 12 of 12 with 12 laps planned.
So let's have a look at the 14-turn layout, which utilizes all the pavement choices. Internal part of the track is interesting because there's a whole bunch of left-handers in a row, and those are bad for Daly because he has 2 broken bones in his left hand, and turning left for that long is a huge problem in terms of his fitness.
Still working through some of those issues as we see the number 1 plate on Sébastien Tremblay's Turcotte Performance Suzuki. Great to see as the 2024 champion has been crowned. Let's go down to our Bridgestone pit reporter, Sarah Satt.
Thanks, Marshall. Despite starting 8th on the grid, mixed weather conditions, and battling through a hand injury, Trevor Daly was able to beat Maverick Sear for first place in the last race here at Shannonville. The one-speed Suzuki rider defied expectations and pushed his way into second in the opening few corners and eventually made the race-winning move in the turn 8 hairpin, going side by side with Sear before getting a slightly better launch and powering his way into the lead. This is his 3rd win of the season and 4th of his middleweight career. It'll likely be a battle at the front again here today, but the real fight will be for second place in the championship between Sear and John Lang. Still, Sear says he's not stressed at all and is just focused on having fun in the last race of the year and feels fast today, especially as he prefers riding in dry conditions. Back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. As we get set, we look at the BS battery flags whipping there in the foreground. As it is a beautiful day at Shannonville Motorsport Park, but that wind will play on the minds of these riders as we go one more time in 2024. It's the Apex Cycle starting lights powered by Honda. They are out in a bit of a move there from Maverick Sear in the middle of the front row, but on the outside, Sébastien Tremblay with that number 1 plate takes the lead.
Pole position for Tremblay, hot start, but we got to be wondering what's going to happen with Sear because when you creep at the front of a pro grid, you usually get dinged for it.
As Tremblay leads here in the early stages of lap number 1. Nice move by John Lang down the inside. There goes Trevor Daly on the inside of Alex Michel as well. And Dylan Bauer trying to give chase here as they head to the inside loop.
Yeah, interesting Daly moving like that because we didn't expect him necessarily to contend in the dry, although of course he was dominant yesterday in the rain.
Tremblay out in front, the Turcotte Performance Suzuki GSXR 750. Maverick Sear hot on his heels and right in behind John Lang as Trevor Daly straightens up, takes a little bit of a look, can't make the move work.
Yeah, he picked off Michelle, and then he immediately got right to work with the next rider in front of him. So good work by Daly. I wonder how long his hand is going to tolerate this.
As it once again, he looks to the inside back there for third position. And he'll hold off now as well as the one-speed Suzuki trying to catch up to that Vast Performance Kawasaki of John Lang. But it is Sebastian Tremblay onto the back straight for the first time.
Four-cylinder GSXR 750 V-twin Ducati 955 cc's. These are Gen 2 rules motorcycles, and let's see what it plays out at the end of the straight.
The added comfort here of not being in the damp conditions like we saw in the race yesterday as they go flying through and can actually pitch it into the end of that back straight as Maverick Sear trying to latch on to Sebastian Tremblay. Now it is Daly up into third spot as he was able to go and get John Lang.
Daly taking the classic line there. You can see his rear wheel in the air on the brakes. Now let's have a look at the start finish. Yeah, there's a board out there. I can guarantee you that is telling Sear that he is going to be penalized 5 seconds for a jump start.
A 5-second time penalty here for Maverick Sear, so plenty of work to do if he hopes to stay on the podium in this race, as Tremblay will no doubt push the pace. And there we get a look, Colin.
And look at the official staring right at the bike. And the problem is when you hiccup like that, everybody behind you sees the movement and they tend to move on your movement rather than the lights. And of course, this makes the start much less safe for the rest of the field. So very minor incident there for Sear, but the rules are pretty strict.
And a lot of the other riders in behind kind of hiccup as well as they were trying to play off of Maverick Sear up at the front. Hard not to jump when you see the person in front of you get going, as Sear, now knowing that he's got that 5-second time penalty, puts his head down and tries to make a move on Tremblay to try and get a bit of a gap out in front. But Sebastian continues to hold him off. Trevor Daly in third, John Lang fourth, Alex Michel in fifth, as we make our way through the final race of 2024 in the Economy Lube and Tire Pro Sport Bike Division. Portions of the Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship are brought to you in part by Pace Law Firm's Fallen Rider Support Team, Joe Rocket, and EBC Brakes and Clutches. Closed captioning for the Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship is brought to you in part by Apex Cycle, BS Battery, MotorcycleCourse.com, and Revs for Revs. Welcome back to Shannonville Motorsport Park as Sebastian Tremblay, wearing that #1 plate for the first time, is continuing to lead out in front of Maverick Sear, who does have that 5-second time penalty, just 3/10 back right now, and just laid down a 1:47.033. So Sear is absolutely pushing at this point.
Sear is shopping. He needs to be 5 seconds ahead if he's going to win this, and people have done it. They have made up a gap and pulled into the lead. In this section here, Sear took a stab on the last lap, and that was a kind of an ill-conceived gesture. This time Tremblay's much further ahead.
Tremblay winding his way towards the back section of this track, in behind the tree line at Shannonville Motorsport Park, and continuing to carry as much speed as he can with that GSXR 750 towards the hairpin and then the back straight.
Yeah, when we think about the Gen 1 original rules bikes, we have Lang in fourth on the Kawasaki and Van Winkle in fifth on the GSXR 600. So pretty good parity. Michelle also on a Kawasaki 636.
Down the back straight they go as Tremblay ready to throw it in, as again Maverick Sear, you can see him late on the brakes trying to make as much ground as he possibly can, but a bit of a gap at this point from the top two back to Trevor Daly.
Yeah, I think Daly might be a little bit surprised to be where he is, but great effort.
Let's head down to our Bridgestone pit reporter Sarah Said with a series regular who's not racing today.
I'm here with Elliot Vera, who is number 33, also competing in the sport bike category this season, but pulled out of this race due to injury. Elliot, how are you feeling today? What's it like not being able to compete in the last race of the season?
Like any other rider, it hurts, but it's for personal injury. It's just basically it's best for me and also for other competitors, because I can be at a risk of hurting someone else, of course.
Can you talk to us about this season and how you felt overall and how it will affect you leading into next year as well?
It wasn't a perfect season, but I wouldn't consider it a lost season. We learned a lot. We gained a lot of good data from the season, and as you know, we're either on podium or crashing or having some mechanical issues. So all in all, it's still a lot. We learned a lot, so we can't really complain.
And for next season, where's your mind at?
Well, you know, we're gonna just sit down. We're gonna figure out all the, you know, my weaknesses and the bike weaknesses, and then we're just gonna, you know, obviously try to improve on that for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vieira confirming that he suffered major arm pump issues yesterday. He could barely use his right hand by the end of the race. And of course, that right hand does all that detail work with the throttle and the brake. Right now, you're seeing a lot of good detail work from Cyr, who is still trying to make it past Tremblay. Now, Tremblay would have seen that board indicating that there's a jump start penalty coming for Cyr. So Tremblay knows that as long as he can make this difficult, the win's probably going to be his.
His economy Lube Ducati running mate Maverick Cyr and Elliott Vieira, they had a tremendous battle with Sebastian Tremblay back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where it was basically the Suzuki of Tremblay up against those two, almost working as a tandem, and Tremblay was able to battle his way through it, but Cyr all on his own here today.
We kind of wonder if we're seeing a change in the trend, because we were expecting Tremblay versus Vieira, but lately it's been Tremblay and Cyr, and at Shannonville, that battle between these two was really something. So, you know, Cyr has now moved up to second in the championship ahead of Lang, so we may see a new establishment of a top running order.
Down the inside, can he get it stopped? Cyr does for now. Tremblay gets back on the throttle, bit of a wobble trying to carry speed in, but Cyr takes away the spot. I was just about to say he's gone from 3/10 back the previous lap to just a 1/10 difference, and now he takes away top spot and is in the lead. And the question becomes, with that 5-second time penalty, how much room can he carve out between himself and anyone else behind?
So on board with Cyr, he goes way up the inside. This is a nice clean pass. It still did surprise Tremblay. Now we go on board with Tremblay. If you look here, Tremblay's smart. He immediately chooses to duck under, but he's already right at the edge of what that tire can do, and it causes the Suzuki to step sideways. You caught it, but this is two guys right at the edge of what's possible. Watch Tremblay here. Tire spins, but he knows that that's likely to happen, but it just shows you how close to the edge these guys are riding.
Maverick Cyr, a race winner back at Shannonville, dominant in that race earlier this season, trying to get it done here today in Shannonville. Welcome back to Shannonville Motorsport Park as we have reached the midway point of this race, just beyond, as Maverick Cyr out in front, but a 5-second time penalty hanging over him for a jump start at the beginning of race number 12. As you see Cyr ahead of Tremblay, and there's Trevor Daly closing down. The gap is in behind. Who was that fell out? It looks like Andrew Van Winkle dropping down the running order. So the FD Racing Suzuki of Van Winkle is on the ground. He's got it back up though.
He was in 4th position, and that was a pretty big crash. I'm amazed he got up, and what's crazy is he didn't even break the windscreen on the fairing, so you can tell he's not a factory rider, because if you're a factory rider, the bike completely comes apart every time you fall, and now he's got to recycle the ignition and clear everything. So watch in the background here, he appears flying, and then the bike's upside down, and how it survived that tumble. We know when the bikes are upside down, it tends to break things that are very hard to replace.
And reaching down with his left hand, is that the shifter he was trying to manipulate?
Yeah, he's trying to get it back into neutral so he can start it. Look there, he got going again, so good for Van Winkle. I can't believe the bike is rideable after a tumble like that.
A little piece comes off there going through the corner, but great to see Van Winkle back up on 2 wheels as we get a look at the leader, Maverick Cyr, with less than a second lead over Sebastian Tremblay.
And Tremblay is going to do this, I think. He's going to pace our leader, Cyr. He knows how the rules work. He's been in a lot of our races over the years in both of our top pro classes, Superbike and Pro Sport Bike. And as we mentioned before, he's got the number 1 on his bike, so this is practice for next year.
Absolutely. He's looking forward to wearing that all season long. Let's go down to our Bridgestone pit reporter, Sarah Said, with more on the 5-second time penalty to Maverick Cyr.
I'm with JF Cyr, Maverick Cyr's father. Maverick's in the lead right now. Can you tell us about how you're feeling on the back end here?
Well, he's in the lead right now. He's got a 5-second penalty for a jump start, which he did. He didn't take any advantage on it, but he did move before, so he needs to have a gap of 5 seconds to the guy behind him to be able to keep his position. So he knows he's got that penalty, so he's putting his head down and he wants to have a gap now.
Yeah, and he's in vying for second place in the championship. Has that been one of the goals for him today that he's focused on?
This weekend was the goal to get the second championship. The win it's a bonus. Obviously now he needs a 5-second margin, but as long as we get that second place in the championship, we'll be really happy about it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sear's concern is his standing in the championship. Remember, a year ago was his first ever pro race after winning 2 amateur championships, but right now it's a battle for points with Lang, so he needs to make sure that that 5-second penalty doesn't drop him behind Lang, who's in 4th right now with the Kawasaki.
Coming into this race, a 58-point deficit between Sebastian Tremblay and Maverick Sear. John Lang back 2 more points, and so yeah, it is the rider in 1st place, Maverick Sear, and the rider in 4th, John Lang, who are battling each other for the championship standing, even though they're not battling on track here as we begin lap number 9.
Yeah, and we're looking at lap times pretty close to where they qualify, so the idea that Sear could easily build 5 seconds over Tremblay is really a pretty optimistic hope. Like I said, it has been done before, but it is not the common way this plays out.
The closest that Sebastian Tremblay has been since getting passed by Maverick Sear was back on lap number 8, 3/10 back. That's extended a little bit further out right now.
And can I mention with this drone shot showing turn 4, the long left-hander that starts the whole sequence of left-handers, Daly, should be his weak part of the track, but he seems to have made up a ton of ground. Like, he is really coming on strong on that 1-speed GSXR 750.
He has found some pace. How about the Yamaha down in 5th position right now? Dylan Bauer making his way to Shannonville Motorsport Park and eyeing down what he hopes might maybe somehow turn into a podium.
Well, and also Bauer normally would be doing superbike tuning duties with the Econo Lube team, so he has stepped out back into his previous role at the track, which is a serious pro racer. As we've mentioned, he is more of a Grand Bend guy, hasn't raced at Shannonville before, so he is doing really, really well. There you can see him, he's on our board.
Out of the golf shirt, into the leathers, but he trails Maverick Sear, our leader. Portions of the Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship are brought to you in part by Pace Law Firm's Fallen Rider Support Team, Joe Rocket, and EBC Brakes and Clutches. Welcome back to Shannonville Motorsport Park as we are working lap number 10 of 12 here in race number 12, the final race of the season. Maverick Sear continues to lead, but a 5-second time penalty hangs over his head, trying to detach himself from our champion, Sebastian Tremblay.
Looking backwards from our leading Ducati 955 V-twin Desmo of Sear, and we have a good shot of our reigning number 1, soon to be number 1 plate holder. He's got the number on his bike already, Tremblay, and he's basically pacing Sear. He just needs to stay close, but the question is, what is Daly up to, and does he have the pace to come join the party?
Also, Dylan Bauer has made his way up into 4th position past John Lang, and so you see another move there from the number 401 that we were talking about just a moment ago, as again Sear and Tremblay lead out front.
And we were looking forward to Tommy Kazas doing well at Mosport on the Yamaha. He ended up getting hurt and not riding in sport bike, but this time it's Bauer flying the Yamaha R6 flag, and it's good to have a Yamaha near the front.
Philip de Gama Blanchette in 6th, Alex Michel in 7th, and Marco Souza in 8th right now, with Mackenzie Wheel an impressive 9th, jumping up through the crowd as well.
Wondering what it's like to be a pace setter in a sport bike race here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. This is what it looks like. That's our leader, Sear, on the Ducati, and here you can see the classic lines of Tremblay, but again, Daly is not far back, and he's not coming on as fast as he was a lap or 2 ago, but he's still closing.
Yeah, the gap is down from about 1.9 where it was a few laps ago to now 1.3 seconds. So Trevor Daly picking up about 0.6 over the last 3 laps.
Yeah, and we're looking at Tremblay turning lap times in the mid-47, so we're a fair bit now off our qualifying time, but don't forget the tires are showing a lot of wear. Fuel load will have dropped, but you can't expect the same pace this late in the race, and Sear still looks really good, and Tremblay is hanging right in with him.
All 3 of these riders at the front look extremely comfortable right now as they enjoy the final day of the Bridgestone CSBK season in some beautiful conditions. The wind doesn't seem like it's affected them as much as we thought it might have at the beginning of this race.
No, there were some concerns about some more bad weather coming through. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Everybody's just about had all the rain that they could take, and yesterday's conditions were pretty treacherous.
They jump on the throttle here down the back straight on lap number 11, and you can see Trevor Daly getting even closer. As down the drag strip they go, Sear weaves his way over to the left and will throw it down into the corner.
Now's when we have a discussion about how optimistic everybody is, and the thing you got to love about Trevor Daly is he is always optimistic, so you know he's going to keep right on fighting, and Sear I don't think is going to get his 5 seconds, so right now it's looking really good for Tremblay.
Sear ahead of Tremblay, Daly right there once again as they come to the white flag. 1 lap to go in the season here in the Economy Lube and Tire Pro Sport Bike Division.
Yeah, Tremblay is keeping Sear honest, and in fact, Tremblay has picked up the pace, so I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe he's decided he doesn't want to just win it on time breakout. He wants to win it on merit.
Sear trying to hold off these two, and as you say, the 5-second time penalty looks like it is going to cost him. Not likely that Dylan Bauer is able to catch up inside that 5-second window, and so looks like for now potentially a 3rd spot on the podium for Maverick Sear, but still wants to cross the finish line leading this pack.
Tremblay closing on our leader Sear, and remember this section here, all these left-handers in a row are allegedly very hard on Daly because of those 2 broken bones in his left hand, but man, he's doing a fantastic job.
He is only about 2/10 back as it stands right now, trying to close down this gap to Sebastian Tremblay, who's seen great racing all year long. So much parity in the Economy Lube and Tire Pro Sport Bike Division. Maybe this a sign of the future. Maybe next year, many more battles between Maverick Sear alongside Sebastian Tremblay.
And got to mention, all 3 of these riders represented Bridgestone and Canada at Daytona in March. So this is the completion of a very long, busy tour on the sport bikes.
Tremblay quick on the throttle here, down the back straight on the final lap. As he passes Maverick Sear, they enter the braking zone. Sear back down the inside. What a great move. Side by side they go. They keep the bike straight up. Daly with the best seat in the house.
And Sear just barely hung on there. He used all the track and maybe a little more, and you know Daly has to be motivated watching these two just hammer on each other.
And Daly trying to take advantage now into the final corner. He looks inside, straightens up. Sear looks like he's going to hold on to the top spot across the line. That time penalty will cost him, and it will be Sebastian Tremblay ahead of Trevor Daly.
If the traffic had broken just slightly differently, I think Daly might have been able to win that one. He had to check up behind Tremblay, but he went all out, and given his physical condition, what a fantastic effort from Daly.
All 3 of these riders, the heart rates through the roof on that final lap, side by side at the end of the back straight between Sear and Tremblay, and then Daly diving down the inside. It is indeed the 5th win of this season and the 17th career victory for Sebastian Tremblay after the Sear 5-second time penalty.
And good to see the level of respect amongst our 3 front runners, and it was a really entertaining event. If we look at the results, Sear moved down to 3rd, but of course maintains his situation with Lang, which is very important for the points.
Dylan Bauer comes home in 4th on that Yamaha R6. A great effort from him. John Lang finishes the season in 5th as well, as we head down to our Bridgestone pit reporter, Sarah Said, who is with our winner. It is Sebastian Tremblay.
All right, congratulations on the win, Sebastian. It was a little bit of a confusing end there. Can you tell us a bit about how you feel now that you've done all the races this season?
It's been awesome to finish with a race victory. For sure, I would have liked to have it on the line. We tried hard, but I knew from the first lap he had a jump start, so I didn't have to go all out to beat him. He made a daring pass at the end of the back straightaway. We almost ran out of the racetrack, but it's all fun and game.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
5 wins on the season for Sebastian Tremblay. He is your champion. Maverick Sear does hold on to 2nd spot in the championship ahead of John Lang.
4th, very impressive for Van Winkle. Remember, he did not contest all the rounds, nor did Trevor Daly.
Great efforts from them as we see the Constructors' Championship. Suzuki jumps out ahead and gets the championship as Kawasaki comes home 2nd, Ducati in 3rd. Sebastian Tremblay on the top step, punctuating his campaign. And on top of it all, ST Motorsports, your team of the year here in the Economy Lube and Tire Pro Sport Bike Division. Thanks for being with us all season long on our 30th with TSM.